Welcome to Friday Friends, RI Elder Info's weekly look at the organizations and individuals providing resources for Rhode Island seniors, caregivers, and professionals.
Good morning, everyone. It's 9 a.m. on a Friday here on Facebook Live, so you know what that means. This is Friday Friends. And for those who might be joining me for the very first time, I'm Deb Burton, the founder and creator of RI Elder Info and rielderinfo.com. We are a 501c3 located here in Rhode Island, dedicated to providing comprehensive resources to seniors, caregivers, and the professionals who serve them. And every Friday, I come on here and interview different organizations that you need to know about. So we're talking about stuff that, really is making a difference in people's lives. So it's super important that you hit the like button and that you share this feed out with everybody you know, whether that is your city or town group that you might be in. If you are a member of any specialty groups here on social media, please share the video out with them, because the stuff we talk about every week is stuff that really is touching the lives of so many people here in Rhode Island. So, it's really important to get this out to folks. We're all in this together. So we are a 501c3 nonprofit, which means we can't get by without the help of our friends. So I'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to Oak Street Health. They have been our organizational supporters for going on 2 years now. They have locations in Warwick over by the Christmas Tree Shop, Stop and Shop Plaza. They have one on Broad Street by the old St. Joe's. They've got one on Branch Avenue by the McDonald's. They have one in Woonsocket, not far from the Planet Fitness, up on Diamond Hill. And Oak Street Health provides comprehensive medical care for individuals who are receiving Medicare. Great program. They take multiple insurances now as well. So great opportunity there. And what's really cool is they provide transportation to people. Big shout out also to United Healthcare. They are doing some amazing work in the space for Medicare recipients. It's open enrollment for the next few days. So if you're not sure what Medicare plan is going to work for you, reach out to my friend Jennifer Barrows over there. She's not going to lead you in the wrong direction. And if by some chance, English is not your first language, Jen can connect you to folks who speak a multitude of languages so that you can get the information you need in a way that works best for you. Also have to give a big shout out to my friends over at Tamarisk Assisted Living. It's a great little assisted living where they really take care of your loved ones like their own family. If you or someone you know needs assisted living or needs some memory care support, contact Susan or Sean. They'll be more than happy to show you around the place and give your loved one a big hug. Or you, if you'd like, if you feel that's appropriate. It's a great little spot over there. And then if you were with me yesterday we had our big 3 R's of hoarding, recognition, resources, and realistic actions. That was the hybrid training that we did. It was absolutely amazing. I will be sharing some tips and information in my newsletter this week that I learned yesterday, because this is a situation that is really exploding. And huge thank you to Neighborhood Health for being our sponsor for that. The Substance Use and Mental Health Leadership Council, where it was helping with the registration process. Anchor Bay Assisted Living, they've got 3 locations, one in East Providence, one in East Greenwich, one in Johnston. East Greenwich Housing Authority, Cove Homes, Tufts Foundation, White Cross Pharmacy. Truly some amazing information shared yesterday. So check out the newsletter this week, because I'll be sharing some of the tips that we learned. So one thing that, we really worked yesterday to do is to foster collaborations, and, we really need to work together, all of us on a daily basis. We have to support each other. So I'm really excited to bring on today's guest, because she is heading up a program that really is fostering community engagement. Can you bring up Carolyn this morning from the Village Common? Hi, Carolyn. How are you?
Good. Hi, everyone. Hi, Deb. So nice to be here.
So tell everybody, what is the Village Common of RI?
Well, the Village Common started in Rhode Island. It's a village movement, and it's basically volunteers assisting members to age in place, to be able to grow older in their own homes rather than having to move to a facility or to another location. And it's volunteer driven, and we're based around the concept of villages. In the fall of 2014, there were some community members from east side of Providence. Who were inspired by a national village movement that started in Massachusetts. And what they did then in 2015 is they launched something called the Providence Village. And so that's how it started here in Rhode Island, was in 2015, with volunteers helping older adults remain in their own homes. And after 4 years, what they realized is that in order to be sustainable, a network of villages in Rhode Island would help achieve that sustainability. And so in December of 2019, the Village Common of Rhode Island was incorporated, and it directly supports the creation of villages throughout Rhode Island. And we are currently in Providence, Barrington, Edgewood, and Westerly.
That's amazing. So when you say, there had been a book, I think it was Hillary Clinton that wrote it. It takes a village to raise a child. I feel like it takes a village to care for all of us as we age, because we want to age independently. It's, I've worked in the aging field one way or another for all my life. And I think I've met one person who ever said, yes, I want to go to a nursing home. And in no way am I bashing nursing homes. It's just we want to stay in the comfort of our own home. So the volunteers that are participating in this, what kinds of things can they do? What services are offered on a volunteer basis that can help people?
So one of the main things villages assist and that volunteers do are transportation, so rides. And these rides can be to medical appointments, to physical therapy appointments, to swim lessons, to anything that the member requires. I'll also state that our volunteers are vetted. They're also trained. Volunteers who drive, our transportation volunteers, do receive a little bit more training and a little bit more vetting than our what I'll call normal volunteers or regular volunteers. So transportation is a huge thing. And in the village, it's never just a ride. It's always an opportunity for our volunteers to connect with our members, to check in on them, see how they're doing, see how else the village can assist them. So other ways that volunteers can help are with errands, such as groceries, prescriptions, library book pickups. There's technology assistance. We have technology volunteers, and especially with the pandemic and the use of Zoom and all of these wonderful ways to communicate and connect, we have technology volunteers to assist our members learn how to do that. Volunteers help with minor household chores, such as changing light bulbs, fall cleanup, winter clothes out of the garage or into the garage. And then we also provide for our members in-person consultation to make a home safer. We don't want any of our members to slip and fall in their home, of course, because that would be so dangerous. So little tips on the rugs and all of those things. And we have a health and wellness committee who helps with that. And again, they're all volunteers. But then also there's the social connection part of remaining in your home and remaining healthy is the whole social opportunities that we provide. So during non-pandemic times, there would be more outings. But at the moment, a lot of what we do provide is virtual. And so, but they're great opportunities to still engage with each other. Each village has a walking group, and that's a wonderful way to stay healthy at the moment. Again, it's all led by our volunteers, and we can show how to do access the calendar, and these are open for others to try as well. But these walking groups are such a great way to connect, to remain healthy, and to be safe in an outdoor environment.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, so much of that can be social. to get connected with people. I just want to go back to the transportation piece real quick, because just nationwide transportation as we age is a huge, huge concern. Tons of studies have been done, AARP, NIH, like transportation is so critical. And we have here in Rhode Island the MTM transportation that provides rides to doctor's appointments for individuals over the age of 60 or those individuals on Medicaid. Can your volunteers transport folks to the other aspects of life? Because as we age, it's not just doctor's appointments that we want to go do. Like if they want to get a haircut, or if they want to go to a wedding or something along those lines, can your volunteers do those kinds of things, the fun things of life?
Oh my gosh, that is such a great point. And getting our hair done is incredibly important. So important to be able to keep those appointments. And yes, exactly. Hair appointments, anything that's fun and engaging. When we do have in-person events, which we have started slightly with masks for those who are vaccinated, transportation volunteers will assist our members in arriving to those events as well, because it's if they want to be able to attend an event, of course we would help get them there. But oh my goodness, how important are hair appointments and all of those fun things in life that we really want to be able to get to. Our volunteer drivers also assist our members to get for their vaccine boosters. They provide those lifts as well. Okay. So really what they do is we have a service coordinator line, and our members call that line, and our volunteers, again, who are trained to receive those phone calls, receive the phone, answer it, chat with the member and see what their needs are, and then arrange a volunteer to assist that member.
Yeah, it's interesting. I got a call just on Wednesday from an individual who she recently lost her vision. She's in, I'll say, 80s, 90s. And she said, so great, I can get MTM to drop me off at the doctor's office, but I'm blind. I can't find the actual door to go in. Are your volunteers able to just kind of walk somebody to the door, not just curb to curb, but into? Is that possible?
Oh, exactly. They do. And some of our members are also with low vision or no vision. Some of our members have low hearing or no hearing, and our volunteers assist with that. And of course they do. We even have some volunteers through our Health and Wellness Committee, when the need arises, who are trained to attend an appointment with the member such that they can assist with any questions or concerns that the member may have. Sometimes attending those appointments can be frightening at the beginning. And so the volunteer can accompany them and make sure the right questions are asked. I know myself, when I go for medical appointments, sometimes I'll ask the question, but and sometimes my mind is so much on the next question, I don't hear the answer. And so that volunteer can then help remind the member of what happened at the appointment and what was recommended and all of that. So exactly. So walking into the building, assisting them as needed, and then bringing them safely back home again.
Yeah. And I think, you bring up a really good point. And that's one of the things that I like about the Village Common model, is that you've thought about what happens in real life. So when you do go to the doctor, I always say, bring somebody with you, because there could be information that you heard one way, but the doctor said completely differently. It could be, overall you're healthy, but your blood sugar is elevated. So you really want to watch. Oh, overall I'm healthy. Okay. And they missed the whole part about maybe you want to start watching what you're eating, kind of thing, because I don't know, for me, I don't want to watch what I'm eating. So I don't want to hear that information to begin with.
Exactly.
So having somebody there could be well, what are your thoughts about? Or, the doctor said you should follow up with, I don't know, this kind of specialist. Are your volunteers able to kind of help people coordinate that? If they say, oh, well, I don't know, you need to go see, I'll completely make it up, a podiatrist. Your volunteers can help a member actually find a podiatrist.
Well, we have resources and lists and phone numbers and things, but we do leave it up to the member to make the decision. But they are able to, through our Health and Wellness Committee, provide some of these resources to help the member make educated discussion and all of that with their provider and who they would choose. So yes, we do have lists and resources and phone numbers. Each village maintains their own for their specific town or city, but then there's also statewide ones, that are important phone numbers. And sometimes these members just aren't aware of 211 or other important numbers that they can call to access information.
Yeah, absolutely. And for the tech help, can you tell me more about what kind of help the tech what kind of tech help the volunteers can provide?
Sure. So we've had volunteers go and reset routers in someone's house because all of a sudden they don't understand why their Wi-Fi stopped working. We've had volunteers, our tech volunteers, who go in, and if someone receives a new device, then they help connect to that Wi-Fi and help them, show them, how to get started and all of that. We had received grants from the Office of Healthy Aging, which with much thanks, and we were able to provide members and volunteers and actually others in Rhode Island who were not necessarily affiliated with the Village Common with devices. And with that, we gave them a wonderful resource binder that Dr. Sky Leadoff from the University of Rhode Island helped create. And so we added some village things to it. And then so they would receive the device, a wonderful binder, and then an ability to call our phone number and receive tech help if they needed it once they went through and they still had questions.
That is awesome. And I can tell you, Sky is amazing down there at URI. For folks who are watching, if you go back to our first virtual senior resource fair, it's recorded here on Facebook. Sky is one of the presenters, and she talks about the cyber senior program. It is absolutely amazing. So it's not, for your program, it's not, well, you have to have an email and be able to log in first. There's actual paperwork that you can read through to get that far.
Right. And as Deb and I, our partners at the Rhode Island Attorney General's office, have also provided information for these binders and for our older adults who are new to devices on how to stay safe, because that's a huge part of learning this whole technology world, is the ability and the necessity of staying safe.
Oh, you mean those phone calls that I was getting that said my Amazon card is being charged $1 million and they just need my social security number to fix? You mean that's not true?
No.
I am getting so many of those calls and notices, and your Apple account is charged and this is charged. And it's
gotten really
crazy.
bad lately.
Yes. So tech support, transportation, some of those small things, putting air conditioners in the window and taking them out in the winter.
Exactly. And leaves. And we had one member in our Barrington village, and it seems small, but it's important. They weren't able to pull their trash to the curb any longer. And to continue to remain in your home, that's an important thing, is to bring your trash every week to the curb and then bring your empty bin back. And so they provided volunteers on a rotating basis to ensure that this member's trash is always brought out and then the empty one brought back in. It can be a small thing or it can be a larger thing. And I also want to add, many of our volunteers are actual members too, because maybe volunteers, we have many like service coordinator, newsletter, we have other opportunities for volunteers, but maybe they do need assistance with rides still, but they can assist in other ways. So our volunteers, we have almost 170 volunteers at our organization. And there are so many wonderful, wonderful things that they provide our organization, all the way from the newsletter through to raking leaves.
Wow. And so your volunteers, do they have any kind of background check or anything like that? So it's not just, anybody off the street, like, yeah, I'll volunteer to go in somebody's house. There's like real backgrounds.
One absolutely receives.
Oh, perfect timing. Carrie Lynn just asked, is there an age requirement for volunteers too?
No, there's no age requirement. And each one does go through a vetting, a process. We make sure that they're all safe, but there's also training that's done for our volunteers. There's a handbook, there's a now virtual training that will hopefully switch. We had thought January, but we might need to push it with the new variant a little bit more out. But we had hoped to resume in-person volunteer training soon. And then, like I said, the driving, so our drivers, those volunteers, we consider a special subset. They do receive a little bit more vetting and they do receive a little bit more training.
That makes sense. So if there were, say, a Boy Scout pack or something like that, could they volunteer with the Common to
Oh, they could,
do?
and that would just be a lovely, and many of our villages, like the Barrington Village specifically, is looking into that exact thing in partnerships, because we
Mhm.
all want our community members to be safe, healthy, engaged. And as Deb and I are both very fond of the intergenerational programming, and so having a young adult or a child with paired with an older adult is a beautiful way for everybody to feel engaged in their community.
That is awesome. And are there other communities that are looking into this, or if a community wanted to become a part of the Village Common, how would they do that? What
Yes,
are their steps?
so first to call the office. We do have, with the pandemic, it's been interesting. We've had quite a few interested towns and cities. We're working with Bristol. East Providence has started up again to talk about it. Burrillville, Cumberland, Gloucester, Block Island. I'm probably forgetting a couple, but these are the current communities that are just at the beginning stages of saying, we're interested. What do we do now? The first step is the what to do now is, after calling the office, is to start to gather some like-minded people. And so sometimes villages are formed when there's an individual in a community who is just incredibly passionate about the village movement, the village concept. Sometimes it's a senior center director who realizes that with the pandemic ending and their volunteers back at work, they're not able to, with their limited staffing, to provide what they had been able to when people weren't working as much and volunteering more. So the whole village concept to them is very interesting and rewarding, because we work with senior centers to ensure that all of the members around that community stay safe and healthy. And so bringing like-minded people, like-minded organizations, religious groups, other volunteer organizations, and all bringing them to the table, and starting with a little bit of an assessment of what does the community need, what does the
Mhm.
community want, and then working together with us to figure out what are the proper next steps.
How is it different? How is the village model different from, say, the health equity zones? I don't even know if you're familiar with the health equity zones, but um,
Yeah. So villages are completely volunteer driven. So
okay.
we have 1.5 paid staff. There's me and our office manager, and everyone else is a volunteer. And we don't receive any specific funding from any state or federal organization. We're a nonprofit, and so we rely on donations, on grants, and our membership dues, which I can also explain. Um, so it's very different, because again, we're quite, for the state and for the towns and cities, we're quite an efficient and effective way of helping our members, our older adults, age in place, because the actual staff model is very low, because the majority of our staff are free, because there's 170 volunteers versus 1.5 paid staff. So that's one of the ways we're different. So we're not an agency that is a case management agency, but we do work to the best of the ability of the volunteers who are available to assist the members.
That is awesome. And aside from the background check, Carrie Lynn was asking, is there some type of privacy agreement between the volunteers and the individuals that are receiving assistance?
Yes, all of those forms are filled out. We have that whole process set out with each village, and also those who volunteer in the office and share perhaps even more information that is a little bit more private.
Okay. And everybody is trained, I'm sure, that if they suspect elder abuse, that they're required to call that in. Um,
Yes.
for all my viewers, if you suspect elder abuse, we are all mandatory reporters. So make sure you call it in to the Office of Healthy Aging.
Right. And that's why these, we always say, our drivers are, it's never just a lift. It's always an opportunity to connect, check in, to see how things are. They do get to know our volunteers, and our members develop friendships. Of course they do, because they're together so much. And so they start to notice if something seems amiss or something is different, or someone hasn't called for a lift, but they've usually been calling. So they do check-ins. Certainly during the pandemic, our volunteers were key, as were many, many organizations throughout Rhode Island, of doing check-ins. Basically, we were a volunteer safety net thrown around our members to ensure their safety. During this time, we provided masks and other items that were necessary for our members to stay safe.
So I noticed you say members. So are there membership dues? Who can become a member? Are there any limitations? I noticed you mentioned that the east side of Providence was really kind of the initiator of the whole village movement here in Rhode Island. And then Edgewood, which is another part of Providence. So are there sort of catchment areas for people to join?
There are for services. And so we are a membership organization, but it's a sliding scale of membership to ensure inclusivity. So members can pay what they feel they can afford. And a membership ambassador would talk through that, would explain all of this with a prospective member. And there are some dues, minor, very minor dues, but they just help with the whole running of the organization, with the insurance, the legal side, all of these various aspects of a village. And that's one of the reasons why, when the Providence Village Joint was started, is that they wanted a network to ensure in sustainability. Because all of these, like they had to pay for the volunteer vetting, they had to pay for the insurance, they had to pay for this. And of course, all of that becomes a lot less expensive as the more villages there are. And
Absolutely.
So yes, it is membership driven with a sliding scale to ensure that anyone who wants to join can join. And that's for services. So our volunteer drivers, when they sign up, they kind of say how far they're willing to drive from their village. And at the moment, the programs we offer, like I said earlier, many are online, and they're basically open for anybody to join. And we hope that they will, of course, become members. But one of the things I really want to reiterate are our caregiver support groups at the moment. And they can be found on a website if you go to the calendar section, our calendar, and we have support groups. And these are virtual. They're open for anyone in Rhode Island of any type of caregiver, whether you're looking after a spouse, a parent, a child, a neighbor, any type of arrangement as a caregiver. And support groups can really provide opportunities to share experiences. We provide education, information on resources, share your feelings if someone wishes. It's not easy to be a caregiver. And these are weekly at different times of the day to allow for anybody, some who work and then join at 5 o'clock. There's other day ones for those who can join in as a caregiver during the day.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're finding here at RI Elder Info too, is that need for caregiver support throughout, not just the pandemic, but I think the pandemic kind of added a pressure cooker feeling to it. So right now your caregiver supports are all virtual?
They're all virtual.
Okay.
And anyone in Rhode Island can join in, and they're all accessible through the link on our website from our calendar. And we ask that they register, because then they can receive the link, of course, to click and join in at the time. But they are wonderful. And like you said, caregivers at this point are tired. The pandemic is ongoing. Many feel alone, and many aren't aware, as Deb, you share so many resources, and many aren't aware of resources that are out there available for caregivers. So there's a lot of sharing that goes on at these caregiver support groups.
Yep. And there is your calendar.
Yeah. So you can see our walking groups, yoga. Our walking groups are very popular at the moment. Mindful meditation. We do have a social justice circle, a film club, Oak Hill Circle Gathering, which is a wonderful circle. Instead of a village, it's more of a circle of support that they've created. And then if we keep scrolling, I think we're going to get to one of our caregiver groups. There it is. So the next one is the 13th on Monday at 11 a.m.
That is awesome. And so I noticed some are pink and some are blue. What makes the difference on the calendar? Is it for specific communities, or?
One would hope that I would know the answer to that. And unfortunately, I don't.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure that there's probably a key on there.
It looks like
Just from a quick glance at this, hi everybody. Just from a quick glance at this, it looks like pink is on Zoom and blue is in person.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
See, and that is the beauty of having Ben run behind the scenes.
Exactly.
And yes,
Thank you, Ben.
yes. Which you know what? I didn't even say thank you to Ben this morning. I usually say thank you to 321 Media for Ben running the show, so that we get these things to be able to pop up on the screen and get the voice of God answering the question.
Many thanks, Ben. So it is wonderful. So we do yoga, mindful meditation. So important in these times to just be able to relax and be healthy in that way with our mind and our spirit.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys are really doing a lot of different things over there that are really supporting people, really mind, body, and soul.
Absolutely. And it's all because of our amazing, amazing volunteers who are the heart and soul of this organization.
So if somebody wanted to volunteer, do they call you?
Yeah, so they call the number that's at the bottom of the screen and they explain that they'd like to volunteer. If they happen to live in one of our villages, then that's a common way that they would volunteer for that village. Otherwise, we have volunteers in North Kingstown who volunteer for the Providence village, who are just used to driving in that area. So they're a driver. They participate. They assist, and sometimes we have volunteers who don't live in a village, but who are very interested in helping out in the office, in the background, as a service coordinator, on our health and wellness committee. These are often retired physicians, social workers, nurses, dietitians. All of these come together. They still have such a passion for helping others. And through this, they can, through our health and wellness committee, they can do just that. We also have a volunteer board of directors who is our strategic direction and leads everything and sits at the top and basically steers our ship.
Wow. That's really cool. So you have volunteers from all over the state volunteering in other places all over the state. That is awesome.
Yeah, they are amazing volunteers.
Yeah, that's great. Apparently, Heidi Ross was just saying that she has seen the Village Common resources in our Info shared on the Nextdoor app. It seems like people are becoming more comfortable reaching out for themselves, a family member, or a neighbor, which is a good thing. And I heartily echo Heidi's comment there. You know, we are all in this together. We have to support one another.
Absolutely. And hi, Heidi.
Yeah, so this is great. So you've mentioned that there is the membership fee, that's sliding scale. Are there any other costs that might be associated with this?
No, just the membership fees, which are sliding scale. And we encourage donations as we are a nonprofit, but we don't require donations, of course. That's not an aspect of being a member or a volunteer. Our volunteers already give so much of their own time, their expertise, and so then no one's ever required for any other disbursement of funds. But as I had said earlier, many of our members are volunteers and our volunteers are members. So we have that group in the middle who are both a volunteer and a member, and we have members and volunteers as well.
That is awesome. So you are you a 501c3?
We are indeed.
Oh, so if people maybe are not members or not volunteers, but they think that this is really cool, how can they help support the Village Common model?
That would be amazing and so appreciated. So on our website, there's a donate column. And if they click donate, they can donate that way through PayPal. There's our address that they can donate a check. They can call that phone number again, and 401-441-5240. They can call in a donation if they wish. But our website is usually our best landing spot to do these things. Easiest for everybody. But phone calls are we always love to hear from donors and potential volunteers and members as well.
This has been awesome. I think that this is something that I look forward to really sharing across the state and really growing.
Absolutely. We're excited by the growth. We're excited by various opportunities being presented, as like working with, high school students, or working with Boy Scouts, or working with other new towns and cities as they all come on board.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I'm so glad you were able to join me today and get the word out because this is, it really is going to be all of us reaching out and helping all of us.
Exactly. And there's
Mm.
never a better time to volunteer than right now in a pandemic around the holidays. So please, if you can, we love our volunteers to volunteer for an hour or 30 hours or whatever someone can provide. Some of our volunteers volunteer only in the summer and spring, fall, and then they're in Florida for the other part. And then they come back and volunteer again. So we love our volunteers. We cherish them, and we'd love you to join us if you can.
That would be great. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you, everybody.
See, it's amazing that the resources we have in this little state, it's really about getting people connected. The common model, the village common is in multiple communities across the state. And if you want one, I encourage you, reach out to Caroline. She can help you get it set up because we have to look after each other. We're all in this together. I look forward to talking to you all again next week. And in the meantime, reach out. Let's see if we can all start growing this movement of helping each other. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. In the meantime, be well and be kind.
If you like this video, please follow us on social media and subscribe on YouTube. For more information, visit rielderinfo.com or call 401-585-0509. If you have any questions, email deb@rielderinfo.com.